There are 5 significant factors that change how NBA fans view players leaving teams. The first factor I'd like to mention is the team the player is on before they leave. For example, let's look at when James Harden left the Nets to join the 76ers and when LeBron James left the Cavaliers to join the Lakers. James Harden received a lot of criticism when he requested a trade, and a part of that was due to how the Nets could have looked if he had stayed in Brooklyn. The trio of Harden, Kyrie, and KD could have won multiple rings if he stayed on the team. And after a playoff exit to the Milwaukee Bucks in 2021, the Nets were still viewed as the championship favorite. Their postseason success was limited due to the injuries Kyrie and Harden dealt with, but many were optimistic about the Nets. So when the former MVP did request a trade, it meant that we were going to lose a dynamic offense that could have resulted in multiple rings. This factor swung negatively for Harden, but positively for LeBron in 2018. LeBron James' second stint in Cleveland started off strong, but losing Kyrie and the regression of their roster forced the superstar to carry much of the workload. With one of the worst teams he's been on, LeBron was still able to help the Cavs return to the finals. Unfortunately for Cleveland, the Cavaliers were swept by the Warriors, and Bron chose LA in free agency. Fans weren't oblivious to the fact that Cleveland got worse, so the quality of the roster was a factor as to why he didn't receive much hate for leaving his hometown team again. While James Harden's trade request turned the Nets into a what-if, LeBron did all he could to help the team win. The second factor I'd like to mention is the team the player goes to. As we all know, Kevin Durant's team blew a 3-1 lead to the Warriors, and then he joined them in the following offseason. Since he joined Golden State, fans have had a lower opinion of KD, and a big part of why is due to him playing for the team that eliminated him. If Kevin had chosen to play for the Celtics or Wizards, he wouldn't have faced the same level of criticism that he still receives today. The other side of this is when players join teams that aren't viewed the highest. When DeMar DeRozan became a free agent, one of the landing spots he could have ended up on was the Los Angeles Lakers. In actuality, he signed with the Chicago Bulls, a team that finished 11th in the Eastern Conference. Since the Bulls weren't viewed that highly, the decision to leave the Spurs and sign somewhere else wasn't viewed as badly as it could have been. If DeMar did end up signing with the Lakers, who in the year prior won the championship, he would have gotten much more flack for the way he left the Spurs. KD joined a team that finished the season with the best record in the league, while DeMar joined a team that missed the play-in. The third aspect that influences how you're viewed is what you've done for the team that you're leaving. The 2 examples for this part of the video are Russell Westbrook going to the Houston Rockets and Jrue Holiday going to the Boston Celtics. Before heading to Houston, Russ had spent 11 seasons in OKC. In that time, he helped lead the team to the finals, won an MVP, and finished his tenure with the most points in Thunder history. Westbrook is on the Mount Rushmore for the franchise, so when he was traded to the Rockets in 2019, it makes sense that Thunder fans were hurt seeing him leave. On the other hand, some have already forgotten the fact that Jrue Holiday was a member of the Portland Trail Blazers before getting traded to the Celtics. He never played a game for the Blazers, and the fans of the team didn't really have a similar emotional attachment to Jrue that they had for Dame or how Thunder fans had for Russ. So when Jrue did get moved, Blazer fans were generally indifferent to the fact that it was Jrue Holiday who's no longer on the team. The fourth element is how the player leaves the team. The way Ben Simmons left the 76ers was filled with drama from both sides. That's worthy of an entirely different video. What's relevant is that his exit was so rough that many Sixers fans were happy when he was traded and were irritated with their former point guard. When it comes to how Kawhi left the Raptors, a championship is an excellent way to finish your time with the franchise. Leonard was the last piece the team needed to win the NBA Finals, and after his decision to leave the Raptors, Toronto fans were appreciative of Kawhi. While he won Finals MVP for the first championship in Raptors history, Ben Simmons sat out games and had his coach say he couldn't be a starter on a championship team. Another thing to mention is how Ben Simmons was traded while Kawhi played the season out and left as a free agent. Due to the way both players left their teams, the Raptors fan base cherished what Kawhi did, while the 76er fan base was fed up with the Ben Simmons situation. The fifth key factor is this. A few years ago, a multiple-time NBA champion and gold medalist left the team with the best record in the league and then signed with the team that beat them in the playoffs. If you're wondering who I'm talking about, it's JaVale McGee. Who the player actually is plays the most significant part in how fans view guys leaving teams. Let's compare it to when LeBron went to the Miami Heat. Based on all the factors I've mentioned, it seems that JaVale would be under more criticism than LeBron. But at that point in LeBron's career, he was in the conversation for the best player in the league. While LeBron was a superstar reaching his prime, JaVale was a 34-year-old backup center. Fans are more critical of the decisions made by the All-Stars and MVPs than of role players. Now that we've gotten the 5 major factors, let's see how it plays out in reality, with the recent trades of James Harden to the Los Angeles Clippers and Damian Lillard to the Milwaukee Bucks. The first factor is the team the player was on. Since Harden left the team that had championship potential, this factor swung negatively. Meanwhile, Dame was on one of the worst teams in the league who were heading into a rebuild. I'd say the factor swung positively for Lillard. Next is the teams they both went to, which for James was the Los Angeles Clippers. While they could very well make it to the finals, the health of their core players has been questioned for years. But Harden wanted to go to LA, so this factor was a negative for him. When it comes to the Bucks, they are looked at as one of the best in the league, but fans haven't forgotten their first round exit. I think it's close, but fans view the fact that Dame went to the Bucks as neutral or negative. After that is what you've done for the team, and James Harden didn't do a whole bunch for the 76ers. While he led the league in assists one season, His on and off playoff performances were one of the reasons the Sixers lost 2 matchups they could have won. So I call it neutral or negative. Damian Lillard has done a lot for the Portland Trailblazers. Similar to Westbrook, Lillard is on the Mount Rushmore for the franchise and is arguably the greatest Trailblazer of all time. Because of this, the factor swings positively. Fourth is how you leave. Harden put the front office in a rough position. He only wanted to go to the Clippers, and his comments about Daryl Morey weren't a good look. Then, he didn't show up to multiple events. In his defense, there were also reports that he was dealing with a family issue. I'm okay with letting some of the recent stuff slide, but what happened throughout the summer has me saying he leads more into the negative. Similar to Harden, Dame had a messy exit out of Portland, and he also falls into the negative group. Last is what caliber of player he is, and Harden can still play like an all-star. Since he can play at that level, fans care about where he ends up. And since he was once an MVP level player, some of those eyes still monitor what he does. Taking all these factors into consideration, I'd say Sixer fans and general NBA fans aren't happy with how Harden operated to leave Philly. Lillard is still a top 10 caliber player in the NBA. With that level of talent, people take notice of team changes. So the factor's a negative for Dame. While some people may feel disappointed with Dame leaving, especially with how he left the team, the majority of Blazer fans seem to be happy for him, and NBA fans are saying finally. When working on this video, I was thinking about what it really means to be mad at a player for leaving your team. I came to the conclusion that the worst way to leave a team isn't when their fans are angry. When fans of a team are mad a player leaves, most of the time, that anger comes from years of supporting and defending the player. The worst reaction a player can truly get from fans is an indifferent or a happy one. They're actually glad that he's gone, or just don't care enough about the player to even have a reaction. The passion a fan can have for a player can turn into anger, or sadness, or appreciation. OKC fans were mad at KD since they knew how great of a player he was and still is. His signing with Golden State meant more to the fans than just a player leaving a team. When Kyrie left Boston, he could have done so much more with a young but really good team. In comparison, a lot of NBA fans are nostalgic when it comes to Kyrie on the Cavaliers and remember those years fondly. I don't think there's a rule set a player can follow to have a perfect exit. What I do know are some things that might make them look better and a lot that can make them look worse.